All right, this is the last essay we're writing this semester. It's an argument essay, you can tell because it's very short. And this video will be very short. It will not be 50 minutes like the synthesis. And so let's go ahead and read it. They gave you a prompt where I think they want you to succeed, and so this is something that teenagers should be able to write about. All right, suggested time 40 minutes. Let's go ahead and read it. In a 2013 New York Times article on the practice of taking selfies, writer, editor, and podcast host Jay Wortham wrote, "Rather than dismissing the trend as a side effect of digital culture or a sad form of exhibitionism, which is behavior that is meant to attract attention to oneself, maybe we're better off seeing selfies for what they are at their best, a kind of visual diary, a way to mark our short existence and hold it up to others as proof that we were here." I kind of like that. It's really poetic, actually, towards the end of that quote. Then, here's your prompt. Write an essay that argues your position on the extent to which Wortham's claim about the value of documenting one's life with selfies is valid. So again, the extent to which. All right. So if you're not taking a nuanced approach, you are wrong. You have to be nuanced, all right? Which means maybe you think that critics of selfies has a point, but you're largely coming down on the side of selfies. Or maybe you see that that selfies do have a point, but you're largely coming down negative on selfies. Whoa, I don't know what that was. And so, there's other ways to approach it as well. I'll let you kind of think of those on your own, but those are two simple ways to do it if you wanted to. Okay. Now, always on the argument essay, I recommend that you do a quick rehugo. And, this one, you could ask yourself, okay, what reading have I done that would help me answer this? What forms of entertainment have I seen? Movies, pop culture that would help me answer this? This would probably be a good one. Not to use for every paragraph, but it could be a good source. History, you might be able to use some history to answer this one. You like universal quotations that might pop to mind, you might do that. G for government or current events. You might find examples there. And then O, which is trends that you see, in anywhere, like observations, I think. Any trends you see locally, nationally, in your school, whatever, could definitely be used. So I would just take some time to write out some examples there. Now, what I want to do is to just show you a couple paragraphs of this student sample, not the space one again, that I thought did really well. Oh, where did he go? He didn't pop up. Okay, let me get the Wortham student sample up really quick. I need to load it up in PDF Expert so I can write on it. And there we go. Okay, so let's look at the intro. This got a 141. Members of older generations often ridicule younger generations for their seemingly self-absorbed obsession with selfies. However, labeling these images as nothing more than expressions of narcissism and superficiality does not account for the immense value they also present. Jay Wortham's claim that selfies function as a visual diary, notice how the quote is small, it's nice, speaks volumes on the worth of these pictures. Documenting one's life with selfies has historical value, so we're getting into his or her argument, in providing future generations with depictions of life in a certain time period, as well as sentimental value in capturing the interpersonal relationships of those in images. Now, it seems like there's a little bit of a roadmap going on here, which would be a closed thesis statement, but it also isn't enough of a roadmap, so it could be an open thesis statement as well. But I underlined all these words to just say, this is good language, okay? None of them represent vocabulary words that you don't know and that you've never heard of. Like labeling is just a strong verb, okay? You all know what immense is. It's better than big, right? Narcissism, maybe superficiality is one word that would be tricky, but all of that writing is just good. That contributes to powerful sentences, vivid style, and that's what gets you a 1 on sophistication. Okay, I'm going to read this paragraph and that's it. And also, I want to mention something. So there's no nuance here yet. This student is just full on board with Wortham. I personally don't like that. I feel like you should include some kind of hint in there that shows that you're acknowledging a counter argument or that you're going to. That's just me. But I hope this shows that you can get a 1-for-1 in a bunch of different ways. I mean, if you come at it with, all guns blazing on just one side of the argument, and you do so in a way that is just that good, you can get a 1-for-1. I just think it's always safe to try to be nuanced. Okay, let's read the first paragraph and that's it. To begin, there is significant historical value in characterizing a particular time period with selfies so the future historians can gain an understanding of how people lived during that time. Previous generations documented their lives through diary entries describing their experiences with words. During World War II, the H of Hugo, teenager Anne Frank kept a diary about her experiences hiding from Nazis, providing historians with insight about the common experiences of Jewish people during this time. Frank also included personal anecdotes charged with emotions, similar to captions that can be left on selfies in present times. Now, I want you to notice something. I'll just stop there. They brought up a historical example. That's the H from Hugo. Maybe the R from Hugo too. I mean, I'm sure this kid read the Diary of Anne Frank. And this is how much space that historical example takes up. And that's about as much space as you need. Because if the student kept going with Anne Frank, then they're getting off topic, right? But they get back to selfies real quick. So you have to have that intuition as a writer to be like, okay, this is enough. I need to start explaining how this relates back to the prompt or to my argument. Like this is your commentary, okay? Or, your explanation of your evidence. And that's how you get that 4 on row 2 for evidence and commentary, like explaining why you're bringing up Anne Frank. Now, back onto the prompt, back up to the present day. It's just a good way to get right back to the prompt. So let's start right here. With the Snapchat app, users are able to capture pictures and overlay text descriptions. During significant historical events like the COVID-19 pandemic, teenagers like Anne Frank, nice tie back, provided commentary on the frustration of mask wearing and social distancing along with the common boredom they experienced. These selfies will serve as primary sources in future years, true, perhaps being studied like Anne Frank's diary. Really nice. The digital culture of selfie taking, therefore, has profound value as a source of historical documents that will help clarify the 21st century to future historians. Okay, put your finger there. Can you see how this student is just really going off on their explanation and commentary as to how their evidence supports their larger claim in their intro? So in doing this, the student is just getting a 4 on that middle row of commentary. This is how you expand your commentary. Okay, let's keep reading here. The perspective of the average person is more completely preserved than in previous generations, since digital images uploaded to social media or the cloud are easier to access than diaries, which can be damaged or lost easily. That's a really good point. As time goes on, more historical turning points will undoubtedly be documented with the use of selfies, making the trend a valuable tool in the field of history. So I'm going through these last body paragraphs. Geesh, actually, look how short that essay is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, and that's it. In this paragraph, I'm just cruising through, and I don't see any language that would mark a counterargument coming. So this is really instructive to you guys, I feel like. And I don't think many students could pull this off. But I do think, and hopefully you can hear it, that the writing is so good throughout this entire thing. And it's enough to get the kid a 141. Also, you have to understand that an essay like this, okay, is like 1 out of 100 essays that an AP reader is going to read that day. Maybe even 1 out of 200. I mean, so many essays are just not as good as this one. And so you have to imagine the AP reader starting, I mean, think about your audience when you're writing an essay. You're writing to an AP reader who started reading at 8 a.m., it ends at 5 p.m., maybe it's 3 p.m. when they get this essay and all they're thinking about is going out and having a drink afterwards. And they're like, my God, these essays are starting to get pretty boring. And all of a sudden they come across this. It's not surprising that within this context, if we're looking at Space Cat, that they would give this a 141. It's just that good, even for being that short. Okay, I hope that helps.